Welcome, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am Allison Moore, founder and CEO of the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. I started this mission in my 30s after chemo-induced severe onset of CMT. I had a vision to raise awareness, support patients and families, and ultimately find a cure for CMT, which stands for Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Today, I think we are close to coming to that truth. So today is a celebration. As a community, all too often we feel unseen, unheard, and poorly understood. Because of this, people with Charcot-Marie-Tooth and inherited neuropathies so rarely get the proper diagnosis, treatments, and support they need at the moments they need them. As such, our lives are significantly challenged. Today, we are changing that. The testimonies, polling, and open discussions will address the critical issues that patients and their families are dealing with throughout their lifetime. We hope to improve inclusion, stigma, and empathy for our community and the unmet medical need of treatments today. Today is about rethinking possibilities. In this sense, today is the beginning of a future for all of us in this room, on the webcast, and throughout the world. I want to thank the FDA for honoring HNF's request to hold this very important meeting, and for all the industry and advocacy sponsors who made this possible. I am grateful to all the patients and their caregivers who are brave and selfless in sharing their intimate lives and experience of living with CMT and inherited neuropathies, and for all of you here today and on the webcast and participating in this landmark event. Today we will move forward a brighter future for everyone living with all types of inherited neuropathies. But to do so, we need to explore some challenges we face, the limitations and treatment options that we all have today. I hope that each and every one of you will be brave and participate in dialogue. FDA cannot know what we need if we don't tell them. Thank you so much. So, with pleasure, I would like to introduce you to our FDA advisor. I don't know where she is right now, Meghana Chalasani from the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research's Office of Strategic Programs, who has held our hand to develop today's agenda for almost 1 year. Every other week, we've been on the phone for every Friday. She gets it and understands how important this meeting is for our community. So, Meghana, I turn it over to you. Thank you so much. I'm going to sit here.
Good morning. It was the highlight of my Fridays, Allison. I'm happy to see so many patients, caregivers, and advocates in the audience, and I know many more of you are joining us on the web. Thank you all for being a part of this very important meeting and sharing your experiences. I would also like to thank the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation and all the staff that were involved in planning this meeting, especially Allison, Courtney, Joy, and Estella. I know you all are in the audience. I know how tirelessly you have been working. I know how tirelessly you all have been working to ensure that today we all hear the voice of the CMT patient community. I'm here today representing the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and I'm joined here by several of my colleagues. Would my FDA colleagues in the audience please raise your hands? Oh, apparently we travel together and sit together. I know several more of my colleagues are joining us later in the day, and some of you are on the web as well. We understand that CMT is a complex and serious condition with physical, emotional, and social impacts, and that there is an unmet medical need for patients. Having this kind of dialogue today is extremely valuable for us because hearing what patients care about can really deepen our understanding and help us lead the way in figuring out how to best facilitate medical product development for CMT. I think it's also important to understand who else we have in the room today. So really quickly, if you're a patient, loved one, caregiver, or advocate, would you please raise your hand? Wow. That's truly amazing. Thank you all for being here today. Academia and researchers, if you all, okay. Healthcare providers, some hands. Medical product developers, okay. Did I forget anyone? Anyone not raise their hands? Okay. I'm really glad to see a high level of interest from all of you who play an important role in medical product development. FDA plays a critical role. We protect and promote the public health by evaluating the safety, efficacy, and quality of medical products, but we are just one part of the process, just one part of the medical product ecosystem. For example, FDA does not develop or conduct clinical trials. Medical product companies, sometimes working with researchers and patient communities, conduct trials and submit applications for new medical products to the FDA. It is, however, then FDA's responsibility to ensure that the benefits of a product outweigh its risks. And so once again, really happy to see the high level of interest from all the key stakeholders. We all share a commitment to facilitating the development of safe and effective therapies for CMT. This externally led patient-focused drug development meeting will give us an opportunity to hear directly from patients who are experts in what it is like to live with this condition, about the symptoms that matter most to you, the impact the condition has on daily lives, and perspectives on current approaches to managing CMT. We look forward to incorporating what we learned today into the agency's thinking and understanding of how patients view the benefits and risks of therapies for CMT. And we are truly grateful to each of you, to each and every patient and loved one, for being here in the room today or joining us on the web and sharing your personal stories, experiences, and perspectives. I know that we will all leave here today both inspired and humbled by your strength, determination, and resilience in the face of the many challenges of living with CMT. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Meghana. That was amazing. So you're going to hear a lot of people today through these testimonies, and we just felt it was just not enough just to see people sitting up at the podium or at the table speaking. So today we are going to show a video of the day in the life of a family that's here with us today, just so you guys can really understand what it really is like on a daily basis for these patients and families that are living with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So we're on. Each one of us is on our own unique journey. We come from different countries, backgrounds, genders, races, and religions. We are mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. We are wives, husbands, caregivers, and friends. Despite these differences, we all share two common threads among us: an undeniable drive to keep moving forward and an ever-growing hope for future treatments. We are the faces of CMT. There are over 2.6 million people living in the world with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. This is the story of only one family.
A day without CMT would be like amazing. My name is Reagan. I'm 9 years old. I'm gonna be 10 in December. And I have CMT.
My name is Phil Warren, and I have CMT.
My name is Brooke Warren. I'm a board member of the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. 2 people in my family are affected with CMT, both my husband and my daughter.
I found out about CMT when I was, I want to say 10 or 11.
We first found out that Reagan had CMT shortly after she was born. We tested her, and I remember getting the news that day. We were both obviously very upset.
I have CMT type 1A, which I think means that one of the parents has it.
I have CMT. My mother has CMT, and we think that her father had CMT.
CMT has historically been somewhat of a hidden disease within families. It certainly was within Phil's family. There are some families that don't even know they have it until one family member has a very visible portion of it.
To this day, I don't think I've ever really had a a conversation with my father about CMT.
In the beginning, CMT was Phil's disease, so to speak, and then we had a child. It kind of became more our thing.
Brooke, my wife, is very open about everything, and so it ultimately got me comfortable talking about it. And so I'm really glad that she's encouraged the same thing with Reagan, and so that Reagan's very open about it.
Welcome to Reagan's room tour. Today with Reagan Warren. Okay, let's go. This is Sherlock. He's my fish. I had Watson, but he died, sadly. This is my night brace, but it hurts a lot.
I mean, she's amazing. She's creative, and she's got a personality that there's no fourth grader in the world like her, 100% guaranteed.
This is my bed. It's a lovely bed, you know? Like, put the head all the way down and the feet up, and I'm like the most comfortable woman ever. This is the life.
Reagan's, you know, she's incredible. Right away, she exudes this amusement, this happiness, and this innocence that's something that gives me a lot of energy.
I want to be a lot of things when I grow up. Some of them are based on like what the future may be for me and if like my hip gets better and stuff. I do want to be a police officer.
At older ages, I worry that will she be able to work? How impacted she will be?
I also want to be an interior designer or a photographer, because those don't really rely on my hip and stuff.
What I would love to see is her be able to maintain her sort of joyous spirit and not have it so negatively impacted by CMT.
When you see Reagan in isolation, you don't notice necessarily how difficult or delayed she is until you see her kind of running with her peers. That's the hardest for me. I mean, if you see her go to the park, I'll start crying. It's not fair. I think the worst part of CMT is the pain that they experience that you can't do anything about, and the fact that it invades every part of your life.
It's kind of hard for me because sometimes I wake up in the mornings and my hip starts to hurt a little bit. My legs are sometimes really stiff and so are my hands.
There's nothing easy about CMT, but being able for her to talk about it and express what she's feeling, I think has really made a difference and is really important for her.
My dad taught me like a few tips and tricks. He taught me not to cry over it. He told me use CMT as an advantage. That made me a lot happier that I was able to like use that tiny part of whom I am to form me.
I would say that 70% of my day is actually focused in one way or another on dealing with CMT and its repercussions.
I also can't do a lot of my own things like cook for myself or like take a shower by myself.
You know, I'm taking care of both of them, both from a grooming standpoint, but also getting them to where they need to go.
I do physical therapy, but I try to make it as fun as I can because working is very important for me, so I get stronger.
Typically, she goes for an hour and a half a day. And it's real physical therapy. I mean, it's squats and wall sits, and most people call it CrossFit. She's tired. Her day starts at 8:15 and ends at 6 every day and nonstop, and that's a long day for her. I
work in a very competitive field, and if you have CMT, you have to work that much harder. And so I have a regimen in the morning that can take 2 to 3 hours, and what I've decided to do is to just be determined about doing that every day and not letting it stop me.
And he would spend over an hour bracing his foot.
I sort of create a mini medical supply store. Bandages in and of themselves are hard because I don't have the finger dexterity to open Band-Aids. You're talking about 3.5 hours to get up before you go to the office. The thing about CMT that differentiates it from many other disabilities is that it's hereditary. And you know, I gave it to my daughter. There's nothing that I can do to take that away. I don't care what happened to me. It's about my daughter and her having to face this possibly with her daughter. The importance of raising awareness that the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation is taking as a main goal is so critical in not just driving, you know, treatment and medical development. It's helping people now with how they feel about themselves and getting people to talk about this in a way that they weren't comfortable before.
This is a degenerative disease, and we're a young family, so when Phil was hospitalized last year for respiratory failure, I feel like that was a huge wake-up call for our family, is to, like, we don't know what is around the corner.
I'm certainly optimistic about treatment. Even if not for me, for my daughter, I think that could well be a reality.
It's imperative on us to raise awareness and to find a cure for this, because if we can help 1 in 2,500 people live their lives pain-free without the deformities and the surgeries and the medical costs and the insurance and the social impact and the depression and the anxiety, and it's just imperative that we find a solution now.
We are the voices of CMT. So I really just want to say one more thank you. I've said it a zillion times to the Warren family. You'll all meet them later on. Thank you, guys. This was unbelievable.